Podcast will start in 10 minutes. Podcast will start in about 8 minutes. We have to start the stream early to check out to make sure that we are streaming on YouTube and Rumble, in which we are right now. Good evening, Texas bikers. Bikers around the nation and the world. This is Texas Biker Radio number 488. My name is Mel Popeye Moss.
OG, a.k.a. Deer Slayer.
Man, let me tell you, we got a lot to talk about tonight, but we're going to start off right the bat telling you about our experience out in West Texas, and you just saw the video for it. Hope you liked it. And, OG, as you look at my hat, it's still got West Texas dust on it.
Dirt everywhere.
This is a brand new hat. So, yeah. What a weekend, OG.
It was cool.
It was. It was Cornudas. There's no other place like it. And it's in between Hobbs, New Mexico, or Carlsbad, and El Paso.
Yeah, I'd say between the two would be Carlsbad and El Paso.
The one thing you don't want to do when you pass through there is run out of gas. Because they have rescue gas there. Just saying, everybody. Saying.
Big dollar rescue gas.
But the people that need to be rescued, they don't complain about it. They just pay up. I wouldn't blame them. I would too. But, and what a weekend. They had our West Texas chapter had their first rally or event, I guess you'd call, whatever name you want to put on it.
Yeah, I think it's the members of the COC up there.
Yeah. Take
turns, have a big to-do on a weekend, and they all support one another.
Yeah. It's really cool. And the facility that they had it at,
awesome.
That was unique. And we'll be posting some videos of that.
You know, that place kind of reminded me of Diamond Gems.
It really does.
It's a little remote comparison.
Yeah.
But it had the upper balcony, Old West decor. Of course, Diamond Jim's got that big long bar on the bottom and all the tables and chairs, and this was arranged a little bit differently with a stage and a band and a dance floor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was definitely one of the cooler places we've been to.
And treacherous electric cords.
Yeah.
Was not my weekend.
Yeah. Let me see. Napa there, if you say ass, they're not gonna show your post. If you say anything that is almost like a cuss word or a cuss word.
Oh, let me tell you, YouTube has gotten treacherous.
You're rotten to the core.
Remember, last broadcast we were talking about the mysteries of Newsmax.
Yeah.
And the difficulty I was having, and I finally found out YouTube does not allow Newsmax to live stream.
Exactly.
Live stream is now on Rumble.
Yes.
So, I can only watch Popeye so much, and you got to know we will be off of YouTube before too long. It's just gonna happen.
Yeah.
And while I'm casting aspersions towards Popeye, I'm probably just as frickin' guilty. Because when I go on a rant, I don't give a damn.
Right.
And neither does Popeye.
No.
So
I can't help it.
Everybody needs to get used to going to Rumble. Everybody is going to Rumble. Newsmax is on there. Bongino is on there. Bongino.
And guess what with Bongino? that reminds me, because that outfit that he's broadcasting on,
right?
They are demanding that they take the jab,
right? And he's telling them, no, hell no.
And he's saying, adios, everybody. He said, I don't work for you, I work with you. And so he's willing to give it up. And I think that's Comcast or something like that. And I assume that's with the radio stations and not Fox News.
Yep.
So he's saying adios to them. And he's got a successful podcast on Rumble.
Yep, and I was just listening to a couple of other conservative talk show hosts, and they're all migrating to Rumble. They see the handwriting's on the wall. YouTube is not backing down. The issue is we will all still use YouTube to some degree, because when you want to figure out how to do something, you do a search on YouTube, and sure as hell that video's out there somewhere showing you how to do it. But being able to exercise your rights under the First Amendment will no longer be with YouTube.
And guess what, OG? We are simulcasting tonight. We are on Rumble and YouTube at the same time. And when we get down to where we're going to talk about something controversial, guess what? Bye, YouTube. Bye. And everybody will be over at Rumble to finish up. It's the way we're going to work it for right now, till we get to some subject that we just can't shut our mouths about.
Yeah.
And we forget to push the button. So, yeah. But, OG, let's talk about your adventure the night we got to Del City.
Good Lord, you know,
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Before that happened, Dutch got off of his bike, backed into me, and knocked me down.
He sure did.
Yes.
He laid you flat.
Yes, and nobody bothered to get a video of it.
We did, however, fire him as road captain when we got back to the DFW area. We terminated his ass. He will no longer be a road captain.
And that's the reason in the video that we just showed you, Dutch was in it, but he was so damn far up in front of us. He's a dot, a tiny dot. Just saying, everybody. But let's continue what happened after we gassed up.
So we fuel up.
Place.
And Napa was kind enough to reopen his store. He is the only legitimate gas station between Carlsbad and El Paso.
Yeah.
You can get rescue gas in Cornudas at the cafe, but he charges somewhere in the neighborhood of about $7 a gallon. He's only got about a 300 gallon tank there, but you know, it's fair. It's you know, it's not like he's charging 10 or 20. He charges 7.
I know you would charge 20.
Well, maybe 25. At any rate, we all, you know, we had to fuel up because it's 100 miles from Carlsbad to Del City, and another about 25-30 miles to Cornudas. And you all know when you're traveling in a pack, you got some of those guys have only got 3.5 gallon tanks, maybe sometimes a peanut tank, and they do good just to make 100 miles. So we fueled up in Del City. It was pitch black. So we came in on one farm to market road, and we went back on another farm to market road, back down to, what the hell highway was it?
180.
Yeah, Highway 180. So we're booking about 55, 60 miles an hour. I'm number 3 in line. We've got a prospect, I think it was Napa's prospect.
We put him out there as
he was
dead
point.
meat.
Right. He was supposed to clear the way. Well, we came up over a rise and started down, and the first thing I saw was a little doe or fawn, but it was fair sized, and he dodged right in between Popeye and the prospect and made it through. Popeye was skillful and veered a little bit and missed him. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw right behind that little sucker a huge frickin' doe.
Yeah, big.
Now, true to everything you read about, that doe came out on the road, looked like he was going to go back, and they all tell you in the literature they never go back. Do not veer to the right, veer to the left. But I didn't have time to veer anywhere.
Right.
This whole thing was unfolding super fast. So the big doe, I mean, had she gone back, I'd have been okay. But no.
Then I would have plugged it.
Yeah. No. Out she comes, and I nailed her. Now, mind you, I'm doing 55, 60 miles an hour. I nailed her ass right in the hindquarters.
Yeah. And, I got a real good view of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Popeye watched it all. And I'm thinking, oh, shit, here we go. And, that was the final thought I had, and I figured, well, I'm probably going down. But sure enough, I mean, it was like the bike shuddered, and that doe, or whatever it was, went off to the left, took out my bullet light, took out my fender, and bent my crash guard back almost to the no, it was to the right side.
Yeah.
To the right side. Took out my right bullet, the fender, and bent that crash bar almost all the way back to my brake pedal. And I kept it up. I stayed straight.
That's right.
And I immediately pulled in the clutch, stopped, and I figured, had to be the hand of God.
Yeah.
Couldn't have been anything else. So we converted, we looked, took the fender off.
Yep.
Converted the Street Glide into a bobber.
Yeah.
And continued on. And Dutch was my test pilot the next morning.
Yeah.
He took my bike out on 180, took it up to, I think he told me 105, 110, came screaming past us at 100 miles an hour.
Yeah.
And said, hey, the bike's running true. So I rode it all the way back to DFW.
Yeah.
And now it's sitting at Longhorn.
Oh, wait a minute. Let's get into that.
Okay.
Of when you may get your bike back.
Oh, yeah. Yep. I asked the gentleman, I figured, well, this is not going to happen quickly. And I said, about how long do you think this will take? And mind you, we're not looking at a lot of major shit here. Nonetheless, it's still between $1,500 and $2,000, but
yeah.
That's a Harley. We're basically looking at a fender, maybe one of the forks or both of the forks, the crash bar, and my bullet. The fairing is just fine, so is the headlight. So we're not looking at a hell of a lot of time. In fact, the insurance company rated it at a 2-day repair. He tells me minimum 2 to 3 months my bike will be in the shop. And I said, oh, okay. I said, I kind of figured it'd be a long time. I said, what's the problem? And he said, can't get parts in. They can order the parts, but it takes a hell of a long time to get there. So, yeah, I pulled in the clutch, stopped, and I changed my underwear. Brain damage.
Yeah. Oh, and brain damage, after careful inspection, there was deer fur on his crash bar.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, he did leave residue. So.
But she kept on going. She was big and she was tough.
Damn sure was. I mean, obviously I didn't break her hip or she'd have been laying on the road.
Yeah.
I don't know if she had internal damages or, a lot of internal injuries and wandered off into the desert and died.
Napa went looking for her.
Yeah, Napa was looking for that back strap.
Yeah, he wanted that meat. He was thinking he was going to get a venison steak.
Yep. But couldn't find her.
Yeah. Gone. But thank you, Mr. Biden, for all the good work you've been doing and the delays in products to not only to Harley-Davidson, but they say grocery shelves, but I have not seen that yet. Have you?
I don't see empty grocery shelves. I see spotty areas in there that look like they need to be restocked and haven't been. Sometimes they're out of a few things, but nothing drastically yet. But I think it's going to get tougher. I really do. And I noticed coming to the studio tonight, every station in town is jacked up to 309. The only two that aren't is Popeye tells me Costco is at 275 today.
275 today, and a line. Well, about 8 lines, just probably 10 cars deep.
And I saw Walmart on the way over here. Their gas was still at 279. So when I'm going home, I'm going to take a look, and if it's still at 279, I'm going to get my truck over there because I'm down to half a tank.
Yeah.
And gas it up, because you can bet by tomorrow morning, next fuel delivery, the price is going up. Thank you, Joe Biden.
Yeah. Think about that every time you go to the pump now, if you happen to be of the Democratic persuasion. And I don't hold anything against anybody for that, because I was a Democrat at one time till I got wise. That was back in the 80s. And if you're still a Democrat, why in the fuck are you? Just saying, everybody.
Yeah, hey, Costco is still limiting paper towels and toilet paper to 1 per customer.
That's right, when you're not able to wipe your butt with the proper paper. You may be ready then.
The bidet will be in the backyard with the garden hose.
That's right. Hey, well, everybody, let me say this, that OG tells me that our trip to West Texas was about 1,200 miles.
Yeah, we were just under 1,200 miles round trip.
Yeah, and, I felt pretty good after I got back,
Yeah, I couldn't believe I haven't suffered more.
Yeah.
I must have still had a lot of adrenaline in my system.
Hell, I went for a walk the day after. I've been walking for my exercise the last 20 years since my heart attack, and I won't stop doing it because evidently it's working. Just saying, everybody. Just saying. So, OG, let me say it was interesting to meet the Texas Defenders from El Paso, and we kind of shared some information with each other and talking, and now they're telling me that there is another situation similar to Patrick here in Central Texas somewhere. Now I'm gonna check into that and see what's going on with that. But I thought that was kind of interesting, and we both, in the end, there came to the conclusion is we can't quit. We never quit.
That's right. It's actually the president of that chapter mother
Yeah.
said, he could remember back, and I think he said the 70s.
Yeah.
Same bullshit was going on with law enforcement and bikers.
Yeah.
It's never changed.
Yeah.
The problem is we cannot give up ever. We have to keep the fight.
Yeah. Of course, we get back and the country's still slipping into a hell that we don't recognize, but, we always like to point out this is by design. This is no mistake. This is not because Biden is stupid or because that he is really not there, if you know what I mean. This is because whoever's behind him, this is the plan. To destroy this country, to collapse it, and then build it back up the way they want it, with everybody on the government's teat. Everybody. And that's what they're busy trying to do. And I do believe that the number is, for getting illegal aliens into here, their number is about 10 million. Then they may shut it off, OG. But we get word that the crane operators out there on the West Coast, they get paid about $250,000 a year. These crane operators.
The guy's taking the...
That's more than a member of Congress.
They're taking the stuff off the ships.
Yeah. Those crane operators. $250,000 a year. And we're being told now that they're lazy as hell. And they've been spoiled because they've been getting weekends off. They got ships stacked everywhere, and nobody thought to increase their overtime or work on weekends or anything else. I promised you, OG, when we worked aircraft, the B-1 bomber, we had to build 101, 7 days a week, minimum 14 hours. It was mandatory. Mandatory. I was a foreman back then. I tried to get a vacation during those 4 years. And they finally, after about 2 years, they scheduled me a vacation. Then they come down to my office and they say, "Hey, man, do you really need to go on vacation?" Damn, man. And I've made no place near 250 freaking grand. What some selfish assholes, I would think. Maybe that's not the right term to put it. Maybe that's not the right way to think about it. If you have union representation, which we did.
Well, I mean, it's a pretty well-known fact.
Uh-huh.
The mob runs a few businesses around the country. One of them being the harbors, the longshoremen, the crane operators. They control the harbors.
Yeah.
It's been insidious for a long time. And until something really drastic happens, I don't think it's going to change.
It's not just the harbors. It's a little bit of everything, including
the
China's
truckers.
having problems.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
China's been having electrical blackouts.
Well, I hope it's because we've hacked into their system.
Matter of fact is, OG, they reopened the coal plants. They're reopening them because they didn't have anything that could provide the power they needed outside of coal and gas and other things. Windmills and solars aren't getting it.
Well, what's scarier than hell? Here in Texas, there's no coal plants, no new generating plants being proposed, planned, or even on the drawing board.
They keep putting up those freaking windmills.
Oh, what we saw going out to West Texas was horrible. And then we ran into an area of solar panels.
Yeah.
Now, if y'all think the wind generators are terrible. In my mind, there's no worse investment than solar panels.
What we saw was thousands of acres.
Yep, covered by solar panel.
That can't be used for anything else because of that.
At least with a windmill, you can still farm, or you can graze. You can't do shit
then we always,
with solar panels.
When we drive through there, we always say, hey, these farmers got the best of everything. They've got windmills. They've got cotton farms. They got oil wells pumping on them. They've got the best of everything going. And they don't even have to grow a crop.
You couldn't even pump oil if you had solar panels out there.
No. Solar panels are not the answer, everybody. They're not. I mean, right now, electrical and solar power, they only produce about 7% of the energy in this country.
Well, I remember an interesting article I read about solar panels. There's an optimum temperature that they put out voltage with. And the optimum temperature, if I remember correctly, is 77 degrees. Now, for each degree that you go in either direction, the efficiency of that solar panel starts to degrade. And we're not talking about cloud cover even. We're talking about temperature. So you can imagine in North Texas, it gets hotter than a son of a bitch in the summertime, and they get snow in the wintertime.
Yeah.
So I would think on average, those solar panels probably operate somewhere between 25 and maybe 35% efficiency. What a waste of tax dollars.
Exactly.
Because they're subsidized.
Hey, OG, are you ready to go hypersonic?
Hell yes.
Let's go hypersonic, everybody. With Adolf Wolf Blitzer. Here we go, everybody.
About China's military capabilities amid a report the country recently tested a nuclear-capable hypersonic missile. CNN's Brian Todd is working the story for us. So, Brian, what are you finding out?
Wolf, missile experts are worried tonight about China's new missile capability. There's a new report indicating China could soon be able to deploy a nuclear-tipped missile that U.S. defenses would find much harder to detect.
U.S. officials tonight closely monitoring China's missile program following a report of a possibly ominous missile test. The Financial Times, citing unnamed sources briefed on the intelligence, reports China tested a nuclear-capable hypersonic missile in August. The report says the missile circled the Earth before speeding toward its target, demonstrating an advanced capability in space that, quote, caught U.S. intelligence by surprise. Today, Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin, while not commenting specifically on the Financial Times report, said this.
We watch closely China's development of armament and advanced capabilities and systems that will only increase tensions in the region.
China denies testing a hypersonic missile, saying the test was a, quote, routine spacecraft experiment, and implying it was for civilian purposes. But analysts say if the report is correct, China's not only got a missile that can fly at 5 times the speed of sound and is more maneuverable than a standard ballistic missile.
Because they're fast and they can avoid detection, they can decrease the amount of warning time we have and the amount of decision time that leaders have to respond in a crisis if hypersonic weapons are used.
The idea that China might have fired a rocket into full orbit with this missile on it is disturbing to experts.
If that's true, then we now have to start worrying about whether every Chinese satellite might not, in fact, be a disguised nuclear warhead. This is a very, very destabilizing development.
This summer, it was reported that China began construction of what experts said were more than 100 new silos for intercontinental ballistic missiles in a western desert of China.
What is very clear is that China is pushing to develop its nuclear capabilities, its strategic intercontinental capabilities, significantly beyond what has been the case for the last 4 decades, 5 decades.
And China, according to U.S. officials, officials has been more aggressive recently in testing its weapons.
As of the end of last month, September of 2021, the PRC had launched at least 250 ballistic missiles this year.
But China's not alone in developing hypersonic missiles. The U.S. and Russia are also working on them. And recently, Kim Jong-un's regime claimed North Korea test-fired a hypersonic missile with a warhead that could detach and glide.
Well, what I'm concerned about is an unconstrained ballistic missile and hypersonic missile race in East Asia in future years. We know there are military tensions between China and Japan, between the Koreas, between the United States and China.
Experts are increasingly concerned about North Korea's hypersonic missile tests. Where did North Korea get the technology? Analysts say it's possible they could have gotten it from China or Russia, but they also say China and Russia have expressed concern over North Korea having that capability. So it's possible the North Koreans could have developed that hypersonic capability all on their own.
We'll watch it together.
Okay, everybody. Didn't that give you a warm and fuzzy feeling to know that our intel community was shocked and surprised about that?
I'll sleep well tonight.
That's right. Knowing that the CIA and the FBI and Homeland Security and all these people are on the job, and guess what? Joe Biden is their freaking boss. Just saying, everybody.
I tell you, it makes you want to smack anybody
That's
that
right.
says
That would
they
be
voted for Biden.
That would be China Biden
Yep.
and Russia Biden.
Now, on top of that, they're also theorizing that this last missile that North Korea launched was not land-based. It was launched from a submarine.
Yeah.
Now, that's a little tougher technology, and as we all know, you can build silos, but everyone knows where those land locations are.
Yeah.
Everybody. You don't know where the hell a submarine is. But if you can launch those kind of missiles from a submarine, that is devastating.
Yeah. Yeah. So they're claiming we don't have anything to counter that right now. So let's tell the world, huh? You think that's a good idea?
Well, the idiots that we currently have running the White House
And CNN.
and CNN and the rest of the lying ass media, they can't put two and two together.
Right. So let me see. Our intelligence agencies are busy spying on American people, and the FBI is busy trying to take down the president, and so they're trying to give cover to Joe Biden, and so all the entities that are supposed to be protecting us are doing something other than what their job should be.
Oh, they're responding. The FBI is now responding to the school boards.
Yeah.
So that'll keep them tied up.
That's right. That'll keep them tied up. You know, you got to get out there and get control of those terrorists that are attacking the school boards. But we'll have something to say about that here in a minute. It's absolutely insane, everybody. It's insane. Now, that won't be enough to startle people, OG. Maybe going to the gas pump will. Maybe empty shelves will. Maybe the inability to get your car fixed will. Maybe you can't get tires for your cars. That might be it. Any of that stuff may be what triggers it. But it won't be this information. I don't believe. Because you can't have any faith in Joe Biden and that former general that was just on there. You can't have any faith in them because of what they did in Afghanistan, which they're calling a successful operation. Let's move on, everybody. Nothing to see here. Nothing to see here, everybody. Nothing.
Do you know mothers are now selling their children to settle debt in Afghanistan?
There you go.
There was a story tonight. There was a mother in Afghanistan that handed over her daughter, which I believe was like 3 years old, to a man that she owed $550 to.
Yeah.
And he said he didn't have any money either, but he felt that that was a fair payment.
So they paid him with their child.
He paid with the child. Children are now being murdered over in Afghanistan for organs because that appears to be a big black market thing over there now. It's going to hell fast.
Yeah. I guess they need a Baca chapter over there, huh?
Right.
Yeah. Something needs to be done. Something. But it damn sure won't be the Biden administration. Damn sure won't be them. And I do believe, if China was to want to go ahead and take over Taiwan, they could do it right now.
I think
now
they could.
Now is the time.
I think they could.
Now is the time, because sooner rather than later, Joe Biden's not going to be there. And neither is that bitch as his vice president.
Yep.
From what I understand, Democrats out there are looking for somebody to run that's more palatable to the voters.
Who do they have?
I don't know, but you have to look at their policies and what they're trying to do now, and you have to look to the son of a bitches like this one that I'm fixing to show you, and this just makes me freaking sick. This is probably one of the most, outside of Nancy Pelosi and I don't know. Let's take a look at him and see what he has to say.
So we know that many stormed and breached the Capitol just days ago, and then they traveled afar. They were on airplanes, and some were arrested when they arrived at airports. One person was arrested as far away as Hawaii. And there are many examples of travel, and we have seen online, and the authorities have seen online, desires to come back to Washington and to go to other places to cause more trouble and more violence. And there are many examples of this kind of travel. There are many examples of this kind of travel. So, here we are today, and we are concerned about these people getting back on airplanes and doing more violence. And so he today, ahead of the concern for possible future attacks, and with the law on our side, we are to say that these insurrectionists, many of whom are known to be at large, should not be able to hop on a flight. We are here today because the people, the insurrectionists who breached the U.S. Capitol fall under the definition of threats to the homeland and should be immediately added to the TSA no-fly list.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me.
No, we don't want to keep up to date with it, you son of a bitch. All right. First of all, that's one of the most dumbest son of a bitches I've ever heard. First of all, if the people that were there and weren't arrested there, the ones that weren't arrested, they called an airplane home, which they probably had to catch an airplane to get there in the first frickin' place.
Yep.
I mean, and I do not really believe that everybody's dying to go back there and participate in something that's going to get them in trouble. I mean, first of all, he's asking them to ban them from flying, and they've been convicted of no crimes.
That's correct.
And they're holding people in jail right now with frivolous charges, trespassing on the people's house. You know, bullshit charges like they do to bikers. Now we understand what's going on here. They want you to be occupied with something else while they're busy destroying this country in every way that they can. Not only people across the borders, not only financially, they're working at it hard. They're working at it hard. And they're trying to do it as fast as they can. And they would do it faster if they could. The only thing that's really, really stopping them is us. And we're not doing enough. We're not doing enough. I don't know. I do not understand why there's not millions of us, especially when we see veterans that are in trouble, who are not criminals, who were invited, I'm going to say it again, invited to that Capitol building by many of those police. And this is all a sham, everybody. They were led into that building. It's obvious to anybody with half a brain that saw the videos early on. And there's way more videos than that they will not show. And you can't trust anything that Chuck Schumer's doing, that Nancy Pelosi's doing, that any Democrats are doing. And they should speak up when they see people's constitutional rights being violated, and people that are jailed with no charges, and people that have been held for months now, and people who are being ruined because of they went into the people's house.
They're taking this country down fast.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, they are.
A lot faster than a lot of people thought they could.
It is insanity. It is insanity. And I got one more thing here I want us to look at. It's not just in D.C. And you've heard about us many times talk about the courts. But OG, let me say this. There are police officers out there right now. They get training on how to tell if someone's drunk without any tests. And they're doing this with marijuana. We've got an officer here in this next thing that is taking a lady to jail because he thinks she's been smoking marijuana. No proof, but he thinks. And you know what else this son of a bitch has been getting? He's been getting awards from Mothers Against Drunk Drivers. If he makes enough arrests, they give him awards. And take a look at this, guys. This is unbelievable. Unbelievable. What's this?
Not tonight, no.
Not tonight? Okay. Well, one of the things that we do is we ask people to blow through this thing, okay?
Caitlin Ebner crossed the line and got pulled over on her way home from work.
Blow real hard and blow until I ask you to stop. Keep going, keep going, keep going. You can't stop.
No, she wasn't drinking. All tests for alcohol came up empty.
When's the last time you smoked marijuana?
Oh, I don't do that. I can give you a drug test right now.
You don't smoke marijuana?
I do not,
okay.
No.
All right. Well, you're showing me indicators that you have been smoking marijuana, okay?
I didn't realize that you could get arrested for something that you didn't do until it happened to me.
Watch your wrist for me. I don't want to pinch you.
For marijuana?
No, ma'am, not possession unless I find it in your car. I believe that you're impaired by the marijuana that you've smoked.
Before you felt those handcuffs closing over your wrist, did you understand just how serious this was?
I didn't understand. As soon as I took that breathalyzer, I thought I was going home.
This time you're being taken into custody, okay, for DUI drugs.
The waitress spent the night in jail and had her alcohol server's permit revoked because of the DUI arrest. After 4 months, prosecutors dismissed all charges because her blood test came back completely clean. You had to spend months and thousands of dollars proving your innocence.
I did.
When's the last time you smoked weed? I don't smoke weed. You don't smoke weed? No, not at all.
The same thing happened to this college student 2 weeks earlier on Good Friday.
Well, I believe you have, okay. I need to borrow your arm real quick, okay? I believe that's why you were failing to maintain your lane and driving halfway on the ramp when I was behind you.
Hold on 1 second. Hold on, sir.
Give me just 1 second. Give me just 1 second.
You're arresting me.
That's correct.
I didn't understand. I'm like, why are you arresting me? Like, what did I do? He said DUI of a substance. I'm like, what?
You're arrested me because you think I smoke marijuana?
I believe that you're impaired by cannabis. Yes, ma'am.
Sir, I don't smoke weed. Is there a way you can test me right now?
Princess Umbamara was also jailed and fought the DUI drug charges for half of 2016. So the blood test comes back, they toss the case.
I remember my lawyer trying to talk about a deal. I was like, what? I'm not taking a deal. I didn't do anything. I want, like, my life back. Can you reverse time?
Can you stick your tongue out real big?
Months later, it happened a third time to this Auburn student.
You're giving me indicators that you have consumed marijuana, so you're being placed under arrest for DUI, okay?
The prosecutor filed this dismissal of the student's DUI drug charge 5 months later. Defendant performed well on field sobriety evaluations, and blood and urine were negative. 3 DUI drug arrests, 3 tox screens negative for marijuana, 1 police officer. Cobb County's T.T. Carroll. Documents show Carroll is one of the highest rated and best trained officers on Cobb County's legendary DUI task force.
Well, you're showing me numerous indicators.
He's a certified drug recognition expert.
Well, I don't believe you're telling me the truth, okay? I don't believe, because I'm seeing some involuntary indicators that you've consumed marijuana.
One of 250 Georgia officers who've gone through this intensive month-long training. A drug recognition evaluation involves a dozen observations that allow officers not only to pronounce a driver is on drugs, but to identify which of 7 types of drugs are in their system.
Marijuana. How do I look at somebody and say marijuana?
There are involuntary responses of the body that we can observe that would suggest impairment of marijuana.
He did these techniques that he was taught, and he determined you were on something you weren't on.
Yeah, unfortunate for me.
Because he's ingesting marijuana. That's what my training suggests.
Officer Carroll relies on his drug recognition expert training, but in these 3 dismissed cases, he didn't do the full DRE evaluation after the arrest. The standard protocol requires all 12 steps to be complete, yet any police officer can make a DUI drug arrest on fewer observations.
If I establish probable cause, and I believe that based on my training, that's why I put the handcuffs on you. Several indicators.
Okay, so when I do a drug test, I'll be free to go, correct?
You're going to jail, ma'am, okay? I don't have a magical drug test that I can give you right now.
But he just did the magic drug test that resulted in your arrest.
They're ruining innocent people's lives.
Caitlin Ebner filed an internal affairs complaint against Officer Carroll. Cobb County investigators exonerated the officer and doubted Caitlin's innocence, insisting the marijuana could have already metabolized out of the blood.
They said, yeah, we see this happen all the time. The test results come back wrong.
So the test results were wrong?
Yeah, that's what they said, that the test results were wrong. And also, if I had a urine test, that it would have came back positive for drugs.
But Caitlin got her own urine test the same week as her arrest. The urine test was also negative for marijuana or other drugs. This training is so powerful that they believe they can detect drugs that a blood test will not detect.
It's extremely surprising. That's my life that they're playing with.
Cobb County Police Department.
Last week, Cobb County's DUI task force was awarded a trophy by Mothers Against Drunk Driving.
1,696 DUI arrests.
And Officer Carroll was given a silver medal for 90 DUI arrests in 2016. He put dozens of actual convicted drunk drivers behind bars last year. But if he got 3 people who were innocent behind bars, having to defend themselves. How does that balance out for you?
It's something I have to carry for the rest of my life.
Now, OG, that happened back in 2017, and now I'm just now seeing it. But let me say this, everybody. These son of bitches are getting awards and patting each other on the back, and I guarantee you that cop right there, he's a lying son of a bitch.
And people wonder why.
Yes.
There is zero respect for law enforcement anymore.
90 DUIs in a certain amount of time gets him some brownie points.
I don't care how many good cops there are out there. When you see shit like that going on, you got to believe just about all of them are that way.
Let me tell you, everybody, and this is the reason I don't like cop shows. I don't like them at all. Because generally all they do is they know the neighborhoods where the druggies are at. They know all this stuff. And they hang around there and they prowl on people that are addicted to drugs. And they make a show out of it. And in turn, the police become actors.
Yes, they do.
They become actors, and they got to get out there and try and make something happen where there may be nothing going on. That's the reason they're jumping all. That one show they had where they were jumping all across the nation, stopping people and doing stuff, and most of it was mundane crap. And the same people over and over and over. Like I said, I never saw a major bust on one of those shows.
No.
Not a kingpin, not anybody like that. It's just a poor sucker out there that's hooked on drugs, that may be an alcoholic, that may be homeless. And let me tell you, I think it's shitty. And OG, here at home, and I hate to complain about him, with all the crap we've got going on across this country and all the things that are going on, and they could make some arrests on people, they just don't. But what they're doing now over in Fort Worth, they're chasing guys that are chasing hookers. We got people that are destroying our freaking country. And this is what they're doing.
Well, yeah, didn't they just pass some kind of state law making it a felony if you solicit sex?
I'm sure they probably did. So they're going to go out there and make some examples out of some of these guys.
If you pay a hooker? It's pathetic.
Hookers have been around forever. You're not going to get rid of them.
Hell, they're biblical.
Yeah. But I would think we would have more important things to do, like maybe real gangs, like maybe cartels that are out there slipping across the border, maybe people that are out there selling fentanyl, maybe that kind of crap. But no. They're going to go out there and try and entrap somebody, and that's basically what it is.
Yeah.
I just think there's more important things to do.
Now, we're still trying to track down this guy that knows how to file complaints against law enforcement and judges.
Well, now, a lot of that I figured out on my own, and I'm getting ready to do my first complaint.
Okay, because we need to let everybody know how to do this.
Yeah.
Because it's, filing a lawsuit against a county or a city costs a lot of money.
Yeah.
Takes a lot of time. and generally doesn't accomplish much through time. You can't find a bunch of people that are willing to file individual lawsuits.
You know, OG, I would really like to keep track of these bad apples, especially when we're talking about bikers now. These officers, they're out there stopping, bikers over and over and over. I'd like to keep track of that so we can file a complaint on them. I hear now that if they get 3 complaints, there has to be an investigation, and they can lose their qualified immunity.
Yeah, and my point being on these lawsuits, there were somewhere between 50 and I think it's over 100 civil lawsuits filed down in Waco.
Yeah.
Years ago. And to this date, they've all been stopped.
Yeah.
They're not going anywhere. So, we need to learn how to file these complaints, where to file them, and once you strip somebody of qualified immunity, then you can sue the shit out of them.
Right. Listen, everybody, ride, record, and report is still in effect. If you get stopped, video it. And if you get treated poorly by that officer, especially when you've been complying. Now, I know you can get upset because you feel you're being harassed. Keep your cool. Get video. And if they're jerks, if they're keeping you on the side of the road longer than necessary to write you a ticket or whatever, file a complaint on them, everybody. File a complaint.
I have to laugh at a comment I just saw on the stream. Napa has met some biblical prostitutes.
Yeah.
Or prostitutes that were biblical.
Yeah. Yeah, there were some when I was in the Navy too that were biblical. Yeah. Just saying, everybody. Hey, there are some referendums that are going on in New York, and the Republicans are asking everybody there in New York vote no on all of them. Vote no on all of them. And that should be happening from New York to California. Of course, we know they're idiots. New York to California, everywhere. If the Democrats are putting up some amendments or initiatives, vote no. Period. Sock it to them, everybody. Sock it to them. And so now we've got secret flights of immigrants to New York and to Florida. Now, Governor DeSantis said today, hey, he wants an explanation why they're flying these people in there without telling them and dropping these people off. Now, you should be asking that question. Have they been tested? And from what I understand, these are mostly kids that they're sending. But let me tell you what. If you take in the kids, guess who's coming later? Ma, Pa, Grandpa, Grandma, yeah.
Fourth cousins.
And they're gonna get on Social Security, everybody. Hadn't paid a freaking dime into it. Yeah, they'll get free housing, they'll get free education, they'll get the things we can't get. Just saying, everybody. How often do you get stopped? Well, that depends on who you are, what you're wearing, Jerry. That's what we're saying. Oh, that was Pastor Aaron saying that. I don't know who said it, but anyway, yeah, that would depend on who you are, what you're wearing, especially what you're wearing. Yeah. There's certain ones that get stopped all the time. Every time they turn around. So, yeah. So now we can get some more fuzzy feeling, OG. The FBI's on the job. I mean, they're trying to find the people down in Haiti. They're the Americans that have been kidnapped. Now they want $17 million. But at the same time, they got the FBI looking into the Americans that are left behind in Afghanistan that are still there. And
the parents at school board meetings.
And the parents at school board. They're busy son of a bitches. But you know what, OG? They're freaking federal workers. They've all been known to be lazy. CIA, FBI, Homeland Security, the DOJ. Nothing but a bunch of freaking sponges is what I see. Just saying, everybody. I don't have any faith in anything they're doing anymore. Anything. Them or the DOJ. They've all been compromised. Homeland Security has been compromised. The White House has been compromised. The Congress has been compromised, and they're all on the take. Just look at Nancy Pelosi and her husband. Richer than hell off of our backs. Selling access. Making deals with companies. Giving them breaks that the rest of us don't get. And you know what? That every bit of that has been exposed by the China virus.
Yep.
And I'm not going to say anything about that junk tonight, because I'm going to go scorched earth on Fauci when I do talk about it.
Well, let me add one thing.
Yeah.
We all heard about Colin Powell.
Oh, yeah.
Now, here's what's remarkable. And once again, it's the media. Okay? It's the media pushing an agenda.
Yeah.
When it was first announced that Colin Powell died at age 84, all they said was, and he died of COVID complications, and he had been fully vaccinated. That went on all morning. It wasn't until early afternoon, I think, when a lot of people were asking, well, what the hell? It was finally disclosed that for several years now he's been treated for blood cancer.
Right.
Now, being treated for blood cancer means you've received some kind of therapy.
Yes.
Which is going to compromise your immune system, your lungs, the whole bit.
Yes.
And, you know, the question here was, did he die from COVID, or did he die of something else and he had COVID? And I think the answer is he succumbed because his immune system was totally out of whack. He had bad underlying health conditions, and the media didn't have the balls to report it truthfully.
Right. And we're not saying anything there that that YouTube should get upset about. Screw you. But in closing here, OG, as we go forward here, and let me say this: the pilots and the air traffic controllers, this whole thing may be in their hands. Especially when Thanksgiving is coming around. And if you can't get a flight to where you want to go, don't blame it on them, everybody. Don't blame it on them. You know where that blame goes. It goes directly back to the people that are in charge. Because they have screwed things up by design, everybody. By design. This is no mistake what's going on. This is no mistake. That's the reason we've got to get out there. We've got to get behind these pilots. We got to get behind these air traffic controllers and any other group that wants to take the system on and fight tyranny, because that's what this is. That's what it is. And I'll end with this. It was reported today. No, I won't end with this. I won't end with this. I'll talk about it tomorrow on Rumble.
There you go.
With that, everybody, I hope you had a great evening. It's been fun being with you. Everybody on the chat line, David, Napa, all you guys. Forrest, Bell. Yeah, I'll just say Bell, L. Bell. And Pastor Aaron, Jerry.
Where's Lisa tonight?
Lisa Lee said she wouldn't make it tonight, and she was upset.
Ah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, Lisa needs to know we missed her.
Yeah. But hey, that video I did for us going to West Texas, I'll post that at Texas Biker Radio. Hey, you can watch this stream at Texas Biker Radio. You always can, because from now on we'll be posting both streams there at TexasBikerRadio.org in the blog section. And everybody, I want to say good night. We love you.
Be safe.
That's right. Be safe, everybody.
And watch for those damn deer.
Watch for the deer. Good Lord. Have a great day, everybody. Bye-bye.
Good night.